So we will move straight on to the next part, which is the Icrn program update by Nilo and Mitesh, if they would come up here. And
No, we'll get people to lunch sooner. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for this opportunity to provide an update on Icrn, the International Cholangiocarcinoma Research Network. I want to thank Dr. Goyal and Anderson for the kind invitation to have Nilo and myself speak at this session here. After that very lively interactive discussion on multidisciplinary care, this will be sort of a bit more mundane, but we wanted to show the power of collaboration through the efforts of the network. Okay, so the mission statement of this network is to rapidly translate scientific discoveries into practice. We don't want things to just be concepts, and help our patients. And given that this is an uncommon cancer, the only way to do it in a way was to have a highly collaborative translational research network, and it required it to sort of transcend institutional, geographic, and national boundaries, so it had to be international in nature. What started out as a concept initially with the hallway discussion with Stacy and Milind has now taken an active form over the years, and we're proud to report that now members come from over 40 countries around the world in 3 continents thus far, hopefully 6 in the near future. It's a bit more heavy on the medical oncology side, but we're hoping over the years that representation across the other disciplines catches up and it's a bit more even. As you just saw, really care of patients with cholangiocarcinoma requires equal contributions from all of our partners. So I'll start off with some activities in the translational research space. As we know, biopharma is an important component of getting things to standard of care, particularly with regards to medications and devices, as well as diagnostics, and working closely with our colleagues in industry from day one can hopefully mutually benefit our patients in the end with regards to questions to ask, which things to pursue, and to do it in the fastest way possible. So in this regards, we've been fortunate over the last few years in particular to have a lot of interest from colleagues from industry, and there's literally been an explosion of activity in this space from no one truly having an interest to hundreds of biopharma partners these days. And it does become a little bit of a challenge in terms of prioritizing and making sure we can give everyone the effort and attention that it may need. And here are just some examples shown here, ranging from drugs to diagnostics to devices. We do also have deeper discussions in order to pursue specific projects, and here are 2 other forums in which we do that. One is an industry forum. We'll be having one right after this session from 12 to 2 with a few biopharma partners. It's by invitation only due to some of the confidential nature of the discussions. And then we also have advisory boards that we launched last year, and these are designed to provide feedback in a virtual format. The foundation plays a very critical role in helping coordinate these, and all the proceeds from these advisory boards are plowed back into research to help our own initiatives and particularly young investigators. Okay, moving along. So a few projects have been launched through Icrn, which really required multi-institutional engagement. Dr. Lewis Roberts, whom you heard speak yesterday, has been championing the GWAS project for several years now, and this is now in a validation phase. It obviously requires a large number of participants, and Dr. Roberts has really been a tour de force and has lined up literally all the institutions that one would need to be able to complete this project. It does require the diversity of patients that had not been addressed maybe in prior studies, and these would include regions of the US that are underrepresented in these kinds of studies, as well as internationally. So if anyone has any interest in this, please contact Nellie Campbell, whose contact information is shown there. It's great to have data, but converting it to knowledge is a whole nother story. And I want to really credit not scientists and physicians in this regard, but the will and endeavors of the foundation, Stacy Lindsay in particular, for championing this effort. That, you know, how can we get the data that we have accessible potentially from patients and collate that together and derive meaningful insights and conclusions that can help inform what we do in the future. And in this regards, there have been a few biopharma partners who have been instrumental. I'd like to highlight both Komodo and Citizen in this regard. I know there were several hundred patients that signed up just at this meeting to make their data available to researchers anywhere, and I want to thank you for your altruism in that regards. Okay, we know that resources are available to study this disease, but they're a bit scattered in where they reside, and having a central place where people can just go and find all the resources that they may need seems a bit trivial, but you know, the amount of time people spend otherwise trying to track these things down can detract from what they can do in terms of their output for research activities. So again, I want to thank the foundation in particular for identifying this to be a big barrier, particularly for people who are not usually involved in cholangiocarcinoma who want to contribute. So cell lines, patient-derived xenograft models, tissue samples from which genomic data may have been generated, all of that could fall under these type of resources. So if anyone would like to know of resources or would like to contribute resources, please feel to contact any of us. We'll be happy to help in any way we can. We felt that we also needed to, instead of making incremental advances, try to think of big impact approaches, and taking this concept in mind, we are launching our inaugural think tank. We've termed it C² T², Cure Cholangiocarcinoma Think Tank. And here we are bringing together not only the experts from the field that you've seen at this meeting, but experts whose work is outside of this field in artificial intelligence or early detection in general, or drug development not related to cholangiocarcinoma, and also interface all of these experts with the disease-specific experts and see if we can come up with themes and ideas that can deliver high-impact output in shorter periods of time. And the theme we chose for this year is precision medicine, and there are two areas there: precision therapeutics and precision early detection that we will be trying to tackle. So more to come, hopefully, the next time we convene on what the output of this think tank was. I'll turn it over now to my colleague, Dr. Nilo Azad, to go over the rest of the initiatives in the network. Thank you.
I'll try to be brief to get everyone to lunch. Another major component of ICRN is to focus on broadening education and mentorship for the next generation. And so in order to do this, we have many ways that we're trying to conduct outreach, not just within the United States, but the eye of ICRN is international. And so one of the big initiatives that started a few years ago was the Asia Pacific Conference, which occurs in a different country in Asia each year. In fact, last year, a planned Japanese conference ended up being conducted virtually, but it was still quite productive with a project that actually came out of that conference as well. And we are trying to do that same conference this year in person, and those dates should likely be in the fall. So we will let everybody know once that date is set, and we hope that people will be able to attend in person. We will see where things stand with COVID in terms of whether there's a hybrid option as well. But that kind of representation and interaction and collaboration, I think, is extraordinarily effective. I know at Hopkins, the first one that I went to, we ended up with cell lines and model systems that we were able to get from our colleagues over there. So it's been very productive. Now, in terms of our other educational initiatives, in August of 2020, we rolled out a monthly translational seminar series. This is now being done in partnership with our European colleagues as well, so that every month we address different topics, and each one of those topics we have either a speaker or a moderator, one that's United States based and one that's based out of Europe. And we also have made some tweaks to the system in the last 6 months where we've decided to also incorporate not just basic science and translational educational concepts, but also important education on emerging and established ways that we can optimize clinical care. And so we're having speakers and moderators that come both from the clinical world as well as folks that are working in the basic science world. Now, this seminar series is a monthly series, and I put the upcoming topics that we have planned for the rest of this year over here on the right. It is available live stream once a month, on a Friday of once a month. But even more excitingly, I think we have all of the content available on YouTube. That's the link right there, which is available. And so if you go to YouTube, you'll see many different seminars over the last year and a half that are present that we can still watch and still have, I think, a lot of important information. And then, of course, we'll continue to add to it. Now, we also launched last year a mentorship program, which is a program really meant to help build relationships between people in different countries, but also, of course, to mentor our junior folks as well. So there's two different mentorship programs, a career mentorship program, which is really a 6-month focus on people developing relationships and getting guidance on how to advance their career from more established researchers, and then more recently our scientific mentorship program. That's a 12-month program and is actually project focused, so that by the end of that 12 months together, the mentor and the mentee will have something tangible that comes out of it, an abstract, a paper, and then we're also working to follow folks after they've done the mentorship program to be able to weigh how much impact the mentorship program has been able to have on their future career development. So this year we had 8 mentors and mentees that were matched. I think most excitingly, we actually had over 20 potential mentors that applied to be mentors. And these are very established senior investigators. And so these are busy people, but that understand how important it is to cultivate the next generation. A little bit of information. That we had 9 mentee applicants, 8 ended up moving forward with the program, and you can see that they come from all different countries, which is also really, really important for our mission. This tells a little bit about who were the mentees. So almost half of the mentees were residents, but we also had a third of folks that were either PhDs or postdocs. And I think this speaks to both having a clinical as well as a laboratory focus for this kind of a mentorship program. The mentors were also recruited broadly from multiple countries, which gives a nice perspective that's not just United States based. And finally, I want to talk about the Cholangiocarcinoma Fellowships. This program has been ongoing for many years, $50,000 pilot projects that really can make a huge difference in helping establish folks in terms of moving forward with science that's based in cholangiocarcinoma. We have continued to work to expand the number of these fellowships. This has been really driven by the CCF and the tireless work on behalf of fundraising. I'm not going to steal too much of Dr. Kelly's thunder from later today when she's going to announce some more details about this year's, but I do want to tell you a little bit about the program because it's a really robust fellowship program. It's peer-reviewed funding, really done in a study section format, which is chaired by Dr. Kelly as well as Donald Kopic. We had 15 faculty reviewers this year that really spanned well-established laboratory scientists to clinical researchers. Every application was reviewed by multiple reviewers. We had almost 50 applicants and 24 24 applicants were invited after the letter of intent phase to submit a full application, and I'll leave it at that so that Katie gets to do the big reveal at the end of the day. Now, in terms of communication, we also want to continue to highlight the work that people are doing. And with that, we have this Meet the Experts initiative, which really highlights expert scientists and physicians. If you go through, it'll be kind of a who's who of people that are working in cholangiocarcinoma. And we're going to start integrating more junior faculty into that as well to really start highlighting some of the exciting work that junior faculty members are doing. You saw many of those people on the stage in the last couple of days. And I think those of us who have a little bit more white hair are getting extraordinarily excited about the work that the young folks are starting to do as well. And we should soon be seeing a quarterly newsletter that will also be going out. This is the leadership of the ICRN, and I really want to call out two people in particular. Reham Abdul Wahab has been really the heart of the ICRN. I can't tell you how much work she has put into getting the details and getting the concrete work done, but still being able to weigh in on big picture components. And she's really an invaluable person and has done so much for this community. And I also want to highlight Donna Mabry, who is also tireless as she's in the back of the room and has been responsible for so much of this meeting, but also of all the planning. She has worked really hard with me on the seminar series, and I think they stay in the background, but they really are the forefront of what we're doing. I thank the whole ICRN team and the ENSCA team that has really been so much more involved in the last year, has really created a very palpable excitement and difference in the program. And that's it. Lunchtime.